However, 2 years ago, remember I was telling you the fantastic year he had for the Volcanoes?
Right.
He was 5 of 5 in April of '08 versus Tacoma. 5 of 5, Gary, with 15 rebounds, 5 of 5 from the three for 21 points.
Well, all these guys are capable of lighting up the three. It's just if they're feeling it or not.
Well, go ahead.
Well, and I think tonight we're going to have someone step up to the plate, and I think it could be Gary Muzzy.
Well, and Muzzy, the 20-rebound game I was telling you about was against these same Central Oregon Hotshots, April 26th, 2 years ago. So a little over 2 years ago, he had one of his best games. Jordan Gregg picks up that jump ball and goes to the hoop and gets a bucket. 44-33 in favor of the Volcanoes. So we'll see who does the step-up, Gary, but with an 11-point lead and no one stepping up yet, that's not bad, is it?
No, it's we're playing our game right now.
Hartman for the three, not quite, but Damon King chases down the rebound and brings it back out. Cliff White playing some D, but Porter Troop's got an opening. Porter goes to the basket, probably as good as anybody in the IBL, Gary. That 6'5" frame, very athletic, just a hard matchup.
Well, he's been doing that year in and year out, and actually I remember him from his University of Portland days. He would tear up the league doing that move.
Yes, his freshman year was at the University of Portland, and I remember, Gary, he was telling me they played at Cameron Indoor Stadium that season versus Duke, and he had to guard Chris Duhon, who's now still in the NBA. And he just said the stands were, the floor was actually rocking when they came out on the floor that night because of the fans in the stands doing their pogo.
Right, yeah.
Do we want to try that here?
I'd like to see that. Why don't you start that up, Mike?
I'll see what I can do. King collects the loose ball for the Volcanoes, 46-33, they are up. King down low to Yuskowski. Collects the block, goes back to Hartman, and goes over to Gary Muzzy. The block by Tom Magnuson, and here comes Cliff White for the Hotshots. He splits the gap. The left hand off the rim is no good, but there is a foul on the play. Nice block by Magnuson there, Gary. That started the transition back for the Hotshots.
That was a good move, and the typical Cliffy White move, splitting the defenders and going up for the layup. It didn't happen, but at least he's going to get some free throws.
Well, and just the least amount of daylight, and he is there. That's it's crazy how Uncle Cliffy can get that done.
It still amazes me that he's number 4 all time in the IBL.
And that's 1,613 points. Is that current right now, or is that when the year started?
That is
probably when the year started.
When the year started.
Yeah, because in front of him is Rashad Powell with 1,931 points. So basically, Gary, Uncle Cliffy's got to wait for some people to retire between Powell, Bloodsaw, and Dante Harris. And he has got to play about 2 or 3 more years ahead of that.
That's possible, too.
McKenzie, the shot was no good. Yuskowski gets the rebound and back out to King for a 3. DK, Damon King. If those three-pointers get unleashed, Gary, this could be another 20-plus lead at halftime. Right now, it's already 14 at 49-35, and they really haven't begun to get that outside going yet. Chris Session with the jumper. It is good for the Hotshots. Like I said, Gary, I like what their offense is getting a little better tonight than what I was seeing last week, but they just cannot stop Vancouver, especially on the boards. Speaking of boards, Bryson McKenzie didn't even need a rebound, but he still got the bucket.
Yeah, if we can control the board and the paint, that will be our key to our win tonight.
Well, and McKenzie last year, he had some highlights too. For the rebounds, 20 rebounds versus Edmonton, June of last year. He's a beast. 23 against the Oregon Waves last year, 29 rebounds against Olympia last year. I mean, that's just sick. And the shot is good by Pip Bloodsaw, speaking of all-time leading IBL scorers, number 2. And Gary, we're going to give him a bad time. Speaking of bad times, well, we're having a good time, actually. But 4:26 left in your second quarter. Your Volcanoes 53, Central Oregon Hotshots 37. And welcome back to your Volcanoes versus the Central Oregon Hotshots. And while the break was going on, Gary, we watched the Volcano dancers, and they do a fantastic job. They entertain the crowd year after year. A better product they're putting out there, as well as the Volcano basketball team. And some of those dancers, they have a story. And Gary, you've got a story because you are the storyteller. Gary Akiyama, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, one of the dancers, Joy Houston, not many people know about this, but she is currently the Mrs. Oregon for the state of Oregon. Joy Houston's Mrs. Oregon.
Mrs. Oregon.
Mrs. Oregon. And also her husband, Jeff, won the 2A state basketball championship this season, coaching at Portland Christian.
Oh, wow. Did not know that. And I like the Mrs. That means no Ms., no Miss, no Ma'am, Oregon. Mrs. Oregon.
And it's quite an event to try out for, and give her credit. And the dancers, they put in a ton of hours that nobody ever sees, and it's an art to do that.
That's very true. And Jordan Gregg at the line for the Hotshots gets the first one to go, and the Hotshots need him to get going tonight. They need him and Uncle Cliffy to give a little explosion there. Gregg misses a second. Yuskoski rebounds. And the next game for your Volcanoes, your next Volcano home action, will be next Friday, May 28th, versus the China Shyland. At least that's what it says, right? Oh, no, it's not.
Actually,
it's not,
they changed
Gary.
that. It's the Oregon Waves. I'm sorry, I forgot to give you that message. So
Working with this guy, folks. He gave me the wrong schedule.
It's not Mike's fault, folks. We're really playing the Oregon Waves. Sorry about that.
And I'm assuming that's because China's not in the country yet.
Not yet.
Okay, I remember a couple years ago, 2 years ago, when they played, they were about 6 to 8 weeks late in, a lot of visa problems.
Exactly.
Those credit cards, Gary. What do you do with those credit cards?
It's not that kind of visa. Come on, Mike.
Just testing you, Gary. And we have Yuskoski pulling up the rebound for the Volcanoes over to Damon King. Pip Bloodsaw with the jumper. That's good. Pip continues to get it going for your Volcanoes. And that makes the score 55-40 in favor of Vancouver. And the Hotshots answer back with number 22. Bryson McKenzie down low with a little left-handed putback under the basket. The left-handed scoop shot, good for the big man.
Well, with 2:40 left, Mike, I think we're starting to make our move now.
I think so too, Gary. It got up to about 25 at halftime last week. We'll see what happens here. Gregg looking for some daylight. Hartman trying to slap that ball away. He does. And recovered by Damon King. Hartman taking a look. He's going to the hole. But he passes off. Bucket for Devin Yuskoski. And he had a trip and a nice fall after the bucket. But what counted was the 2 points.
Yeah, we'll count on good things for Devin this year, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, exactly. It'll take more than a mere fall to stop the Devin. Jordan Gregg fouled on the play, and he's going to the line for 2. And we're looking right now at a 6'10 center for the Volcanoes coming into the game named Michael Cooper from Portland Bible College. Last week, he played a little bit for us, didn't he, Gary?
He did, and I was impressed with the minutes he got. He was a factor in there on defensively anyway.
Yes, he got in the third quarter, got a couple of blocks. He really used the space well. He's coming in for Devin Yuskoski. He'll probably be sitting these last 2 minutes of the first half. A job well done for him. Gregg does connect on the second free throw, 59-43 in favor of the Volcanoes. So out there for the Volcanoes, McKenzie, King, Bloodsaw, Hartman, and Cooper. Three-point shooting. Let's see if King or Hartman have some of that today. Bloodsaw looking for some daylight. Over to King. There's some tussling between Akpon and McKenzie down below. And Tony Akpon, number 5, gets the foul. He's not happy about it, Gary.
Well, when you have Tony Akpon, the Hawaiian, going against Bryson McKenzie, it's going to be a tug of war. Anyone's going to win that, but I think the bigger person is going to win it. Of course, Bryson won that.
Well, as you said, those Hawaii guys get pretty rowdy.
They hang loose, but they get rowdy.
That's quite a mixture. McKenzie at the line for the Volcanoes. He does sink the first one. And like I was telling you about McKenzie at the line, this season so far, he is looking 19 of 33 from the charity stripe. He has that percentage up to 57.5%. Last year in 20 games, 87 free throws attempted. This year in 833, so he's ahead of the pace from last year, and that's good. When you have a guy 6'11", he needs to be going to the line, and that shows he's being aggressive with the basketball. And we're looking right now with the Volcanoes taking it back down the floor. Pip Bloodsaw, he got blocked by a couple of people, but there was no call, and the Volcanoes will retain possession.
Boy, that was almost, he was part of a crunchy sandwich there.
Pip sandwich, ladies and gentlemen.
I knew you were going to say that, Mike.
And substitution into the game for the Hotshots. That's number 7, Ricky Lott, and 22, Justin Lockhart takes a seat. Cooper over to McKenzie. McKenzie was going to shoot it, but he pulled it up instead. Maybe that was part of the offense. Hartman coming off that Cooper pick. Hartman going to the hole. Count it. Hartman, strong contender when he gets to the hoop.
No one can be any unstoppable than Alex Hartman. I mean, he's going to go there whether there's a brick wall or a Mack truck in front of him.
Down low, Tony Akpon, Michael Cooper with the block party. Didn't take him too long to start sending out invites tonight, Gary.
No, not at all.
Kevin Tyner bringing it back down over to Bloodsaw in the corner. A lot of directing traffic. And there's Cooper down low to Bryson. Let's see what happens. Well, what happened was a swipe across the face and a couple of other things. I think the culprit was number 35, Chris Session. So that sends the big man to the line once again.
Yeah, Bryson's going to, be at the charity line many times this game.
Well, and I think something that we don't see Bryson, we don't think about him doing this, and he has to really stay under control because the biggest guy out there is going to get hit the most, and he really keeps things in check. He doesn't let it affect his game too much, Gary. Not too much. I think that's a lot of maturity he showed over the past year playing in the NBDL. Akpon rebounds the miss. And here come the Hotshots back. Ricky Lott leading the charge, 64-46 in favor of the Volcanoes as the first half is winding down. Greg down low for Lott. Lott on Tyner. Pullback jumper, no good. Tyner gets the rebound. Let's see what happens. Bloodsaw sprinting out to the left. He wants that basketball, Gary. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I think we'll play it down to the last possible second we have left on the clock.
Hartman up to Michael Cooper. Very nice play developing. Good quality minutes and good quality stats from Cooper as well. He's going to really play well for them when they get against some of the upper echelon of the IBL. Ricky Lott rebounds the miss, closes the gap 66-48. One shot. Let's see what Tyner does with it. He launches it in time off the backboard and no. So the first half, Gary, kind of what we expected. It's a little better on the halftime score than last week. However, it's still the Volcanoes. End of the first half, your Vancouver Volcanoes 66, the Central Oregon Hotshots 48. Welcome back. It's just about time for the second half of this IBL contest between the hometown Vancouver Volcanoes and the visiting Central Oregon Hotshots. I'm Mike Koreski. Welcome back to tonight's broadcast with my partner, the basketball guru, Gary Akiyama, otherwise known as Google Gary.
Well, I Googled some some stats here.
And let me guess.
Okay.
You want to talk about Bryson McKenzie, don't you?
Well, we'll talk about Bryson McKenzie and Devin Yaskoski. There's a picture of Bryson. They're sitting on the bench. 13 points, leading all scorers on the Volcanoes, and Devin Yaskoski with 11 points. Pip Bloodsaw, 3 steals in this game. Big factor, and I think that really started the difference, Mike.
Well, definitely, and he didn't even get that one steal off the inbound pass yet. So you know that's going to be coming. I mean, the guy can pull steals out like crazy. In 2008, he was over 2 steals a game. 2009, he was at a steal and a half a game. And this year, 2.3 steals a game. So his best year in the stealing department in a long time.
Yeah, usually